Hey, this is Jake. So this is an idea I had called "What's Up There." So we're here right next to the highway. This is in Nagano Prefecture in Okaya. Maybe you can see right here, lots of cars driving by. So this road is a road I jog on a lot. It's right next to the highway. There's no houses or anything near it. And one thing I'm wondering is, whenever I'm out here kind of walking around or driving in Nagano, because we have so many mountains here, there's lots of little mountain roads like this that go up somewhere. And so I always wonder what's up there. So I thought I would make a video today checking this out, and let's see if we can find anything interesting. So first, let's go up. Oh yes, and I should mention, this is actually the third time I've come here to film. The first time someone was here. Last time, yesterday, I filmed something and I realized I had the audio off, so I couldn't use that. So today, third time's the charm. Okay, so you can see this is chained off, but there's no signs that say that people can't come in here, so I'm gonna go off the principle that it's better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. So first, let's hop in here, and as you can see, this is like it's a baseball field. And there's no plates anywhere, so I'm guessing people come up here to practice, then they got to bring their own bases and home plates. And you can see, yeah, there's even there's a shed here. I believe this is locked. Let's check. Yeah, that's locked. And a place to sit down away from the sun. I think this area is called the Hora area. It says it's from the Hora. And there are some rules up here for the use. I'm guessing this place was probably built maybe, 30 years ago or so. There's a bunch of rules saying you have to get permission to use this field. You have to clean it up after you're finished. You have to, you can't park cars up here. And if you injure yourself, then the area, the region doesn't have any, they don't bear any responsibility for that. And it's probably just, there's some kind of graffiti from who knows how long ago. That might be someone's name, but well, if you carve your name on somewhere, then some people are going to find it. So of course there's a little more graffiti. Not a lot. Keep any place kind of out of public eye for a while, and someone's going to write their name on it. So I think this is where home plate would be placed. When I first found this place about a week ago, I thought that no one had ever used it for so long, and then I came up again last Friday, or I think maybe Saturday, to film a video, and there was a group of elementary students and their parents up here practicing baseball. So clearly this is still in use. But it's just kind of carved right up here into the mountains, as you can see. With the highway, cars going by and the highway down there. So of course in the summer this would be a nice place for a picnic or maybe some kind of gathering. I wouldn't be surprised if people lit off fireworks or anything like that. And yeah, I didn't show it, but all of the restrooms over there are no longer in working order. I think probably if this place does have plumbing, or if it did, it doesn't anymore. You can see there are just concrete blocks. I wonder what these were for. These are supposed to be some part of some kind of, oh yeah, maybe they were part of, whatever you call this, the system to kind of shuttle water through everything. In Japan, the rainy season is strong, so if you don't have infrastructure to kind of carry water downstream, then it can lead to floods. So I wonder, maybe this area was originally constructed just as sort of water management, and then it was cleared so that the locals could have a place to practice baseball. But to say that we're in the Kawagishi area in Okaya City, which is a city in central Nagano. So of course this area is kind of neat by itself, but there's one more area I wanted to show. And let's check the plumbing here as we can see. Yeah. Ain't nothing going for there, so couldn't use this as a rest stop, I would say. But here's the most interesting thing about this place. So it's a bit bright, a little hard to show those letters clearly. But this area was constructed, so the highway here was built, I think, maybe about 30 odd years ago. Well, maybe more. This stone was set here in Showa 60. Oh, okay, so that is 1985. And yeah, so a lot of stuff had to move when they built the highway. Like they had to, houses and things like that, and so I believe that what we're looking at here is a collection of statues that were once housed in a temple or some kind of, like either a Buddhist temple or something that was in this location before it got here. And it's a little too bright, it's hard to show what that says. There we go. So this is Hora no Sekibutsu Zotugun. So this area was kind of, I think, constructed and maintained by the Okaya City Board of Education. Let's see, Heisei 4, so that is, I think the early 90s. So Zan no Hora is kind of like the first one up there. Zan, it kind of means like remaining, the remnants of something. And Hora is like a cave, or I think also a grotto. So I think what this shows is there's lots of old statues here that remained from something that had to be moved. So this right here is a torii gates, so the entrance to a Shinto shrine. And this time of year we have to be careful because it's August 11th today, and quite a lot of spiders this time of year. So we got to duck under here, make sure we don't get caught in any spider webs. And so we can see there's this nice grove of statues. And a lot of these, yeah, despite having lived in Japan for a while, this is kind of, you have to be somewhat of a specialist to understand some of these things, I think. So clearly someone must come in and maintain this area. Otherwise it'd just be completely overgrown. But you can see these are probably candles, I think. This graveyards are somewhat similar to this, but graveyards are more densely packed. The stones are usually more squared off, and they would have someone's name on it. So I think these might commemorate like different different gods, as it were. I think the concept of deities, especially in ancient Japan, was that there were kind of nature spirits and gods. So these might represent kind of local deities, things like harvest gods and things like that. Yeah, this is now pretty much illegible, I think. So when people talk about classic cars, they talk about patina. The idea that after decades of wear and tear, the cars kind of have this unique kind of look to them. Sort of an honest wearing. And that's what these stones here at this place have. It's patina. It's just decades upon decades of, the weather, moss, all that stuff. So I think that's kind of a unique and interesting thing about temples and shrines in Japan. That it's kind of a quiet dignity about very old places like this. So let's keep going up. Maybe we should move a little faster. I'm noticing that my battery is getting pretty low. So I think I'll check the back of one of these. But I think some of them say they're from the Meiji era, which would be like the late 1800s, early 1900s. You can see, there's a certain dignity that comes from just what must be decades, maybe even 100 years of rain wearing away at the statues. Moss growing. So I come from the US and the west coast of the US, so there's nothing really quite that old around. Okay, let's head up to the top before the battery dies. Okay, here we go. It says, I think that is the Meiji era right there. So I don't quite know the details, but if that's true, this stone is over 100 years old. So that is kind of a Buddhist style, but this is a Shinto shrine. But I suppose it's Japanese history is sort of filled with a mix of the two, well, what we would think of as religions. They kind of blend into the traditions of Japan. So here we have one more big torii gate. And someone's lonely sandal. Only one. I don't know what happened to the other sandal. Okay, now that we're up at the top. So this is, it says Ontakayama, which is a a volcano about maybe a 4 or 5 hour drive from here. And maybe this must be from like a temple or a shrine out there. I'm not entirely sure. This mountain is actually kind of famous because maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, it erupted very suddenly, and like several people died. They were hiking on the mountain when it erupted, so it's still an active volcano. And then this might be something where people leave offerings of incense. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe there's a bunch of names written on here. I think they're names, and those are probably the names of people who contributed to its construction, maybe? I mean, it seems quite old, you know, it's quite weathered. You know, if I had a little more time, I would try and read in more detail, but this is the kind of thing that requires a little more specialist knowledge rather than just the general language you see every day. So this seems to be the primary, or the most important part of the shrine here, the statue collection here. And this is just, yeah, too stylized for me to read. I think, can we see? That is probably the molt of a cicada or some other bug. Right now it's cicada season. Maybe you can hear them chirping right now. And last, I think this right here is, you know, it's this big wooden post that is probably an Onbashira. So Onbashira is this festival that happens in the area every 6 years, where they, well, the most famous part of the festival is they find these holy logs somewhere out in the forest, and they chop them down, smooth them like this, and then ride them down a big hill. And a couple of people die every year. It's a somewhat dangerous festival, but I think in the course of doing that, they spend a year or two trying to go into forests, and you know, like local Shinto priests will find what they deem as like a divine log, or quite a lot of them actually. If you are in the Sioux area for a while, you'll see like people have like tables made out of these kind of sacred logs. So, and they're also at quite a lot of shrines and temples. So this, my guess is that this was one of them, but I'm not entirely sure. But you can see we're just here now, high above the highway. So you have to wonder, people are just driving by at high speed, if any of them know that this is kind of sleeping up here. When you cross under the highway, there's these tunnels here. In the summer, in the summer you have to watch out because there are some smaller ones that don't get a lot of traffic, and those get filled with spider webs. I just noticed this car parked right here. So this was just the road we were on a second ago. So someone drove their car up here, probably maybe soon after the construction of the highway here. And it's a Toyota of some kind. I'm not quite sure. Probably had a 1.8 liter engine. You can see the Toyota emblem over there. And, you know, it's a bit of a shame. And today it was probably just an old beat up car that wasn't worth saving. And, you know, the body is pretty much rusted out. So there's, unless you were just had an enormous amount of money, there's probably no restoring this car. Just taking a quick peek inside. The dash doesn't look too bad. You know, those seats are probably completely rotted out. And the wheels look pretty good, actually. Once, this is just someone's car that they didn't want anymore. Like a lot of things, it was probably uninteresting and old in its day, but now it's quite rare. Of course, the windows have been rolled down for decades, so they've rolled down or broken out for decades, so it's probably nowhere near usable, but a bit of a shame. Alright, and last we're here at Moriya Jinja, Moriya Temple, or Moriya Shrine. And before we take a look at that, so this is one of the ombashira that I mentioned, the kind of holy pillars, those logs that were used in those festivals. So you can see that's, especially in an area like a shrine, this very tall log has been just plopped down right here. So I believe it must be ranked or something. There are probably hundreds of these every year, but I think the main ones are very large, very thick, and they're ridden down a large hill for the festival. So I think I did a little reading before I came out here. There's a very good English Wikipedia article about a deity called Moriya or Moriya, I think. So I believe, a long time ago, over 1,000 years ago, it was a kind of a deity that was worshipped in the area. Among many, and this is kind of the main shrine for this deity. But one kind of interesting contemporary twist is that you can see these are, if I were a better historian, a better student of history, I would know the name for these. But basically you purchase these, are they in this box maybe? Is this where the money goes? Oh, okay, maybe those are, okay, little charms. So I think you purchase these somewhere, you write your name on them, and it's sort of for good luck. And so you see this character here. This is a character from a series of games called the Toho games, and I've never played them. I'm not very familiar with them, but they are kind of a series of games that have fans. Some people really enjoy them. And one character is literally called something like Moriya Sua or Sua Moriya, or something like that, and was based on the history. I think the creator of the games kind of likes local history, so this character was based on this particular deity, this particular shrine, and so fans of the game kind of make pilgrimages out here, and this is the character. So it's pretty interesting that people come here, I think, from pretty far away, draw on this, pray for good luck. So I kind of wonder, there must have been some point at which the people who maintain this shrine noticed that a lot more people were coming. But I think it's kind of interesting that have something very modern and something very old kind of coming together in a new way. Okay, well, thank you for indulging me on this trip. So see you next time.